Francesco Totti is perhaps the most iconic one-club man in football history. From the moment Totti entered his teenage years to the day he retired, Totti's only goal was to give 100% to his boyhood club Roma. And in doing so, he became the king of Rome. Season after season, he delivered big goals against the biggest teams in Italy, in an era where the Serie A was notorious for having the best defenders in the world. Back in them days, the second striker was one of the most important positions in football, and Totti played his role to perfection while still being a lethal shooter. Unlike most of these lessons that we follow them from club to club to track their journey to the top, today we're going to watch Totti's best goals season by season, as he aims to do the unthinkable, finish above both Milan powerhouses and Italy's most successful club Juventus to somehow win a title with Roma. Totti's love story with Roma began long before any of us even knew his name. Born and raised in the city of Rome, he grew up idolizing Roma's former captain Giuseppe Giannini and was so infatuated by the idea of playing for the club of his dreams that his mum had to turn down an offer from Milan when he was a kid. In fact, he was super close to joining Lazio until Roma's youth coaches convinced his parents to hold out and join Roma at the age of 13. Within 3 years, he was making his first team debut in 1993, but the way he was moving with such composure, you'd think he'd been there for 20 years already. His technical proficiency meant he could kick with either foot, and defenders were getting chopped like tomatoes left, right and center. Just when keepers thought they were safe, Chef Totti delivered the dessert, hitting them with ice cream scoops from any angle. The fans immediately loved him, and you can tell by his celebrations that the feeling was mutual. When you're watching these finishes, I have to remind you that under Mazzone's management, this guy was more of an assist collector than a goal scorer. But when he was sacked, Totti was suddenly out of favour and was on the brink of joining Sampdoria. Fortunately for everyone other than Sampdoria, the chairman saw how special he was and made sure Francesco went nowhere. In 1997, Totti underwent a transformation that can only be likened to when Gohan realized his true strength. His new manager played him off the left with full license to cut in, and now alongside those delicate chips, he was lashing shots with pure venom. This was his first year hitting double digits for goals with 14 in all competitions, and he was finally ready to carry the weight of the iconic number 10 on his back. Despite not getting selected for Italy's '98 World Cup squad, he knuckled down and continued carrying Roma on his shoulders, so much so that he was given the captain's armband in 1998. It was fitting that he'd immediately go on to score his very first Rome derby golazo to rescue his team against Lazio. Still, for all of Totti's wonderful goals, Roma were having to settle for 4th and 6th place finishes. Fabio Capello was brought in to try and push them towards title challenges, and Totti's electric form earned him a call up to Italy's squad for Euro 2000. He was instrumental as Italy would head all the way to the final, with Totti bagging 2 goals and then a Panenka in the semi-final shootout. Back in Italy after a phenomenal tournament, Totti was desperate to add some silverware to his cabinet. He was now playing as a pure 10 in a 3-4-1-2 formation, playing behind none other than Gabriele Battistuta and Vincenzo Montella. This deadly trio would steamroll through the early part of the season thanks to Totti's thunderous strikes. With every goal, it seemed as though they were starting to be taken more and more seriously in their bid to win their first league title since 1983. Bro was hitting free kicks that would flash past the keepers in the blink of an eye. A bucket load of assists and 13 league goals without being their primary goal scorer meant that they were now so far clear of the chase impact that they could seal the title against Parma. A 3-1 win, and Totti had done it. He delivered a Scudetto to his boyhood club. Beating Juve to a title with Roma meant 10 times more than he would have if he just left to try win it easily somewhere else. Individually, his performances led to his first Serie A Footballer of the Year award, as well as Ballon d'Or nominations in 2000 and 2001. As a team, he'd helped them pick up the Supercoppa Italiana ahead of the 2001-02 season, where they'd end up finishing second this time. There's no point showing you any footage from the 2002 World Cup because it was a tournament to forget for Italy as a whole. In the 02-03 season, Totti was once again determined to bounce back, and did so emphatically away to Brescia, where he'd score his first hat-trick of his career. In the Champions League, his global status was elevated even further by scoring the winner away at the Bernabeu. This guy had the ability to literally bring the ball down like a feather before leathering it into the back of the net in such a smooth, poetic motion. As explained earlier though, he was doing this for a Roma team that were not used to competing for trophies at all. Them winning the league was a miracle. Totti could only do so much. This was highlighted further when he scored 3 free kicks against Milan in the Coppa Italia final and still ended up losing 6-3 on aggregate. Milan would get the better of them again next season as Roma finished second behind them in 03-04. That didn't stop Totti from hitting a career high of 20 league goals. Despite the strength of the teams in the league, their national team failed to perform once again at Euro 2004, and Totti missed pretty much the entire competition through suspension. The 2004-2005 season was almost completely forgettable from a team point of view, but he'd bag his 100th Serie A goal with yet another free kick versus Inter, before surpassing 107 a couple months later to cement himself as Roma's all-time top scorer. After their 8th place finish, Roma acquired the managerial service of Luciano Spalletti, who immediately switched things up by using Totti up front in the 4-2-3-1. Their form improved drastically, but long story short, Roma would end up finishing second in 2006, second again in 2007, and second again in 2008. Numbers-wise, he'd scored 17 league goals, a career-high 32, and then 18 the year after that, despite being affected by various little injuries. Luckily for Italy, he forced his body to be available for every single game at the 2006 World Cup. At long last, Italy had shown up on the international stage again, winning the World Cup with Totti as the top assist maker alongside Juan Román Riquelme. The scintillating form continued back in the league, where Totti was now reveling in his new striker responsibilities. 26 league goals and 6 in Europe. 2007 saw Francesco pick up his first Coppa Italia, the Supercoppa Italiana, and the Coppa Italia again back-to-back the following season. The Emperor of Rome now had the shiny jewels to add to his crown. Now in his 30s, he was hunting down goal records and appearance records game by game. Ahead of the 09-10 season, Roma appointed Claudio Ranieri to get them competing again, and Totti's 25 goals in all competitions had Roma fighting for the league until the last day. Even though Totti was getting back into the groove of scoring hat-tricks, he alone could not prevent them from finishing second in league campaigns and in cup finals. Scoring goals was second nature to Totti by now, but he was not feeling Ranieri's defensive style of play, and he found himself eating bench more and more as a result of disagreements. But at Roma, Totti was the top dog, and he was quickly back in the goals after Montella took over from Ranieri. Once he surpassed 200 career goals, he was climbing that ladder and breaking into the Serie A top 5. 9 straight years of double-digit goals ended in 2012, understandably given his persistent injury issues and constant change of leadership at the club. He was back to playing a little deeper, but still crashing in goals when his team needed him. At the age of 35, he gate-crashed the top 3 Serie A goal scorers after overtaking Giuseppe Meazza and Jose Altafini. Down went Gunnar Nordal's record. Down went Dino Da Costa's and Marchio Del Vecchio's record in the Rome derby. The end was in sight. At the age of 37, Totti was back playing as a false 9 and finding the back of the net like Goku when he went ultra. Legs were low-key gone and he was limited to sub-appearances. The most notable of those sub-appearances coming when he came on against Torino in the 86th minute to turn the game completely on its head with a brace to win it 3-2. Penalty records were falling, all-time free kick leaderboards were being raided, and Totti's latest achievement was equaling Maldini's record of playing in 25 straight Serie A seasons. Just a couple days before his 40th birthday, Totti would score his 250th and final Serie A goal, stamping his place as the league's all-time second top scorer, behind Silvio Piolo, who bagged 274 when he was dominating in the 1940s, for those of us who remember. After 786 career games and 307 goals, it's fair to say that we're looking at perhaps the most gifted Italian forward in the country's long, illustrious history. From the golden boy, to the captain, to the gladiator, and finally, the Emperor of Rome. Totti's immortality in the eyes of the Roma fans may never be seen again in today's era of mercenaries. For someone so serious about his job, he was always happy to entertain with his audacious goals and even more unique celebrations. If you were unfamiliar with Totti before, hopefully you learned something new today.